Guess I'm just recording this myself. Hey guys.
Hey! Thank you for joining the Escape With Me Book Club. Escape with me, Sam Reiner.
And me, Hannah Rossell.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers.
Unless we forget something.
Today we're just going all over France and England, because why not? Those are our two favorite countries in this series.
Poor Poirot can't catch a break. Apparently he also gets airsick.
He also gets airsick, poor thing. Which I'm not terribly surprised. But published March 10th, 1935. Death in the Clouds is the 12th installment of the Hercule Poirot series. Facing another closed-room murder, this time in the skies, Poirot is tasked with solving a murder that takes place on an airplane trip. Except, despite there being over a dozen passengers, no one saw anything. Do we have another murder on the Orient Express situation? Or are things not as they appear? Which there is a reference to Murder on the Orient Express in this.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, Jap is like, well, they can't all be lying. And Poirot's like, well, I had a case where they were. And he was like, you and your cases.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny, honestly.
I know what they're talking about. I felt like Captain America being like, oh, I understood that reference.
I get that. But yeah, not terribly too much going on for Agatha between last book and this book, which is 1934. I don't really have a month or day.
She needed some peace in her life.
She did. And so this is 1934 to March 1935. But yeah, in her personal life, she's just living a quiet married life, which is good for her. That's all she wanted.
She finally got it.
So I'm very, very happy for her. But in her public life, despite the fact that this is her main book series, we are currently in an Hercule Poirot run that started with 3-act tragedy. That's the book before this. And it's going to run until 1939.
Good grief.
5 years of Poirot.
No wonder she hated him after this.
Seriously, she probably did burn herself out on him a little bit.
I'm surprised she didn't kill him earlier.
But here's the thing. She's publishing like a book a year on these main books, right? Well, in addition to that, in between 1934 and March 1935, she publishes 2 short story collections, including Parker Payne Investigates, which introduces another detective of hers. And so you got those 2 short stories, which is like 1 million short stories, basically. And then you have her pen name with Mary Westmacott publishing Unfinished Portrait, which is a semi-autobiographical story published the same month as this book, also in March 1935. So in 1 year, she published 4 books. But a fun fact, Lord Edgware Dies gets turned into a movie and comes out in this time period, which I'm sure she hated.
Probably. She was like, why would she do this?
She hates all of the movies based on her books. That's just facts.
Because they don't do it right. They do it wrong.
They do it wrong. But yeah, so that's her. I guess very quiet private life equals very big writing spell. Yay. So we get all these books, which is great. But yeah, so we get this one, and we're just going to keep going down the Hercule Poirot road for, like I said, 1939.
Goodness gracious.
Prolific.
And she didn't have a ghostwriter or anything?
No, all her.
Wow. I wonder how long she wrote every day.
That's a great question. Background on this, never read it. That's background for most of these.
Unsurprising for either of us.
Yeah, I read a bunch of Agatha Christie books, but I think that just speaks to how many there are. I felt like I had read a bunch, and now that I'm going back and trying, like, let's go in order. There's so much I didn't know. Like Hastings, I still stand by the fact I think it's fascinating that I never picked a book with Hastings in it.
Some part of you knew that you needed to avoid that.
I guess so. It's just fascinating.
Good luck is what it is.
That made me so confused when we started with the first book, and I was like, who the heck is this?
Who is this guy?
I've never seen you before. Are you the murderer?
Why are you in my house?
Which there is a reference in the book. There's a crime writer, and he's talking about Sherlock, and so there's like a little bit of shade for Sherlock, which I find hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he mentions something along the lines of, isn't it amazing how long the stupid friend trope has kept up?
Agatha also hated Hastings.
Agatha also hated Hastings. Either that or she heard the criticism and she decided to be funny and put it in the book. But yeah, I did think that was funny. It was like, you are self-aware. I love that.
Yeah.
We love to see it.
Of a self-aware queen.
But age level, this is definitely an adult book.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've got illicit drug usage on the page. That was a little surprising. Up to this point, she's mentioned it.
Yeah, this time they're just like, nah, we're going all in.
Nah, right there, line of coke. It's her favorite drug.
Clearly.
But in addition to that, language PG-13, racial slur for the Chinese, because would it be an Agatha Christie book without at least one racial slur?
It's so interesting which books they've selected to edit.
And which ones they were just like, nah, print it.
Yeah, and they're like, that's fine.
Also, there's murder in the book, no doubt, but...
Oh my god, there's a murder?
There's a murder! Yeah, don't read this book if
you don't like murder.
If you don't like murder. I think it's in the title, isn't it? Death in the Clouds. Okay, that's a little different, but...
Implied murder?
If you're reading an Agatha Christie book...
What are you doing with your life if you are reading? You're like, oh my god, I hate murder. I'm gonna read this book about murder.
I'm gonna pick up Agatha Christie.
Yeah, that is quite the decision.
But yeah, it was also interesting because I had the Kindle version. And up to this point, it'd been the US publications, but for this Kindle edition that I got, it had the single quotations that the UK uses.
Okay, yeah, so I must have gotten UK too, because that threw me off.
Yeah, so I found that out with Sword in the Stone Twisted Tales, which is a UK Australia exclusive. And it's kind of like going to the EU with pricing, because they'll use a period where we use a comma and then use a comma where we would use a period. And so the pricing is kind of backwards, and it takes a second for you to, if you're not used to that, to acclimate. I'm sure they feel the same way here. And then with the UK, yeah, they have single quotations where we would use double and double quotations where we would use single, which theoretically makes sense. It's literally called a double quotation. So it's like you're quoting within a quote. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Aesthetically,
looks weird.
It's not strong enough.
It's uncomfortable.
And apparently in the UK, it's becoming more popular to have double quotations. So
perfect.
I think we're winning that battle. We have a lot of things that are stupid and don't make sense, but double quotations, I think, do.
Yeah, it marks it easier. We're like, oh, they're talking now.
Yeah, it stands out more. It's stronger. And then in my experience, it's also way easier to forget one quotation mark than two.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For editing purposes, I have seen more dropped quotation marks in UK. Granted, the two I read, Twisted Tales, which are dicey on the editing to begin with, but I definitely saw more drop quotations with a single quotation than I did on any of the US books with the double quotation. But that is beside the point. Yeah, it's so weird. The last book we read, which has the hard N-word.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, from a marketing perspective.
Why?
Like, it would just make, and not bring any of the discourse of the conversation about whether that should be written in old books like Mark Twain. Like, we'll sit that over in the corner. It's a cozy mystery novel.
Unless they just expect you to expect that.
Because it's like, and then there was none. Had the hard N-word, and then they were like, no, we shouldn't. And then they changed it to Indians, and they were like, no, we shouldn't. And now they're sailors. And so they did that with, and then there was none, but then they'll have racial slurs in all the other books.
Yeah, it's very interesting what they'd select.
So purely from a marketing standpoint, I am baffled. You think they would just edit that? Anyway, maybe just the most popular ones. But even of, like, the popular ones, anyway, that's beside the point. It just baffles me to no end. But judge a book by its cover. I had a plane in the clouds.
Yeah, that's what I had too. And I was like, this makes sense. But then the version that I got on Goodreads is a totally different cover.
Yeah, it has a wasp.
Oh no, mine was different.
Oh, is it? Mine had a yellow wasp in clouds.
Mine, I'll screenshot the one. Maybe I selected a different version. And the cover that I had on my Goodreads really made no sense. But the one with the airplane and the clouds, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Her doing her makeup in the compact has no bearing on the story. Why is that the cover?
It does technically happen in the book when Jane freshens up.
Yeah, but it's not like the wasp or the airplane. Why would you select that?
Yeah, I don't know. Some of these covers are just baffling. But with just the plain one, my thoughts were plane crash. Maybe Poirot reads about a murder on a plane, like a pilot dies mysteriously.
Yeah, I was like, is a pilot gonna die or something?
Supposedly from a heart attack, and Poirot reads about it, and he's like, oh, ha, ha, actually, it's murder.
Yeah.
But that was a little bit too monk for this. No, Poirot Poirot's there. He's just hanging out at the crime scene, as he does.
Asleep, though, because he's airsick.
He's airsick, poor thing. But yeah, I never know what to do going into Agatha Christie. There's a murder!
Yeah, you can't really judge what's going to happen based on the cover.
Never.
Like, if I had gotten the compact cover, I would have been like, oh, was her makeup poison and she dies from that? No, it has no plot significance.
The only significance it has is because she does that, she doesn't see the murderer walk past.
Yeah.
And that's it. But yeah, no Hastings.
Oh, thank God.
Always a good time, always a good time. Poirot was in France, as he does, and decided to fly back, which granted, it makes sense. Like, you could be sick longer on a boat, or you could be sick shorter on a plane.
Yeah.
So I'm not terribly surprised he went by plane.
And I guess they didn't have Dramamine back then. They were just like, get drunk, take a nap.
Take a nap, yeah.
I mean, although he didn't get drunk, but you know.
He actually managed to fall asleep, which is crazy. I would think if you're that sick.
Dramamine was not invented until 1949. Or that's when it was first described in the literature.
We are 15 years out.
R.I.P. Poirot, you would have loved Dramamine.
I mean, he'll be alive then.
That's true.
He lives till, like, what, the 60s?
Maybe it comes up in later books.
Maybe it does come up in later books. But he's like 130 when he dies, because she actually makes the books take place in real time.
In real time, right?
Yeah, like this book mentions, oh yeah, it's 1935 now, which is when this book came out. So very, very interesting. But we also get introduced to Jane, which I think is pretty good. I think Jane's pretty solid.
Yeah, I liked Jane.
She takes the place of Hastings in a way. She's not always with him.
But so much better.
Yeah, she does take her part in it and go about her life, but also once be a secretary and later accompanying him to stuff. And yeah, she does a so much better job.
Being a secretary back then must have been so interesting. Because I guess it's sort of like the equivalent of a personal assistant nowadays.
Yes. Shorthand in general fascinates me, which there's a little thing later on where the author's like, oh, you don't use this type of shorthand? And Poirot's like, we used a Czechoslovakian shorthand. She's that up to date. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have been surprised that the author knows shorthand.
Yeah, I didn't even know there were different types of shorthand.
I know for a fact Poirot was definitely blowing smoke on that one.
Definitely be a thing.
But I mean, I guess it would make sense, like an English versus an American versus a...
I mean, just like there's different types of sign language, there's a lot of shorthands. Yeah, there's abbreviated longhand, abbreviatric, Ame Paris shorthand, alpha hand, agile writing, Bulgarian shorthand, Boyd's syllabic shorthand. I'm not going to try to pronounce that next one. Grief. I'm just going to send you the link to this and you can look at the list. There's lots of shorthands.
Yeah, the only profession I can think of off the top of my head that still uses that consistently is law clerks.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a law clerk's typewriter, it doesn't have all the letters.
You have to be trained, yeah. Oh, they probably use stenoscript because they're stenographers.
Yeah, that would make sense. So
I'm just, wow, there's a lot of different types of shorthand.
Although that profession is moving more toward audio, where they would hold a capture device.
I think they do both, probably.
It depends on the district and if you have the technology or not. But I've just seen in recent court cases where they'll hold it to their mouth and then they dictate into it, which they might still dictate a shorthand. Because what they do is they do the shorthand in court and then they'll go home and then they'll write out the full thing.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And then those are the court transcripts you can buy, which makes sense because apparently it really cuts down on carpal tunnel.
Yeah, because you don't have to go quite as fast.
Well, the repetitive movement. So holding something versus typing.
That too.
So yeah, we love to see it. But anyway, this thing, yeah, we're in a flight. I actually really, really like this first chapter. Sometimes she doesn't murder the person first chapter, but she does in this one.
This time she was like, we are starting with the murder.
And I really like the way she does it. She starts with Jane, and then we talk about Jane for a little bit and her backstory, and then we talk about this person, and then the next passenger, and then the next passenger, and we start from the front of the plane, I think, from that map.
Yeah, I think so. It confused me sort of like how it was laid out.
Yeah, sorry, I should have sent you that map way sooner.
No, I mean, I had the Kindle version, but even with the map, there's like the front, I don't know.
They keep going one by one by one, so you get to know all the characters, and there's not that many, honestly. I think she does a good job of, having enough people where it's like, oh, it could be anyone, but making them different enough, and we kind of get to know them a little bit better pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the end of the chapter, and then they're like, and then there was Madame Giselle resting her head. Except she wasn't resting her head. She was dead.
She was dead. Yeah.
That was good. That was a really good reveal. Okay.
That was a good one. I could see that being a movie opening.
I'm sure there is a movie on this. Let's see. Here's the question. How long did it take them to do it? On the TV show, it's season 4, episode 2. All right, I got a 1992, 1 hour and 43 minutes. Wow, that might be the only one.
Wow. I would have thought this one would have been done more. It's such a cool story.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is the 1992 movie.
There's just something about the allure of trains, though. We all really love a good train story.
It was adapted for radio in 2003. It was later adapted as a final 4 episodes of the Japanese animated television series Agatha Christie's Great Detective Poirot and Marple, which aired in 2005. It's referenced in Doctor Who episode The Unicorn and the Wasp, where they meet Agatha Christie in 1926. The book was first serialized in the US in the Saturday Evening Post in 6 installments. That's genius.
So many different ways to tell a story.
Yeah. Okay. She loves referencing her own work. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
She will not let go of the detective from Murder on the Links.
No, he keeps coming back.
He keeps being referenced. He's never brought back, but he keeps being referenced over and over and over again. So he gets a reference because he meets another French policeman, and we learn that he's doing good in his career. So yay, good for him.
I wonder why she keeps bringing him back specifically.
Fan favorite? I have no idea.
Maybe. It's just funny.
But also references 3-act tragedy because the mention of a psychological moment. And he's like, yeah, I had a case where someone did that so they could poison someone, which is 3-act tragedy. And then, like I mentioned, he alludes to Murder on the Orient Express. But yeah, I had some good theories. I had some things click.
I feel like I was close, and I was sort of on with involvement, but not with who the murderer was.
Yeah.
I knew from the beginning when a character, I don't want to spoil it this early in the episode, but when a certain character was mentioned and then no one brought up that, like, oh, that person actually came in, I was like, so she's involved somehow.
Oh, yeah. We can reference that, I think.
Okay.
A maid walks in and does something and then walks back out. She grabs a case for her mistress.
And walks right past Giselle.
Yeah, to grab something and goes out. Yeah, and I also noticed that no one brought that up.
And then no one mentions that, oh yeah, this lady, she had her maid come in. No one mentions that? Like, what?
Well, here's the genius of it. No one brings it up, and as a reader, you're like, hello, you should bring that up, unless you forgot for some reason, but we're sitting here like, hello, you should figure it out, and then they finally find out about it pretty late in the book, and it's like, oh yeah, blue-collar, whatever collar, are basically invisible, and so you're sitting on the reader being like, yeah, I figured it out, but really, she's using the fact that no one mentioned it as a clue to the real murderer who did exactly that.
Yeah, truly genius.
The layers. So what had happened was the steward was like, hey ma'am, you need to pay your bill. We're 5 minutes out, which is crazy. Can you imagine being 5 minutes out and the people were just like walking around?
Yeah.
Like, we will descend in 5 minutes. Put your freaking seatbelts on. Go sit in a chair. Anyway.
Guess it was a little different then.
Yeah, they're literally standing up to the last second.
Yeah, they didn't have all their safety regulations.
There's a reason we have them now.
Yeah.
But, ma'am, please wake up. Please pay your bill. And they find out that she's either dead or unconscious. And so there's a doctor on board. They get the doctor to come look at her. And the doctor's like, hey, there's this weird mark on her neck. One of the other passengers is like, oh, I had a wasp near me and I killed it. And he shows the wasp and they're like, oh, well, maybe this is a wasp. But Poirot, who's awake again, looks down and sees a blow dart made out of a thorn. So like a poisoned blow dart on the floor with yellow and black silk on it. And it kind of looks like a wasp, but not quite. Obviously, he picks it up and they're like, oh my goodness, somebody used a blowpipe to blow this into her neck and she died instantaneously. Which, all right, so boomslang, right? It's a snake, by the way. Boomslang is the name of the snake.
What a funny name for a snake.
Well, he's kind of adorable, honestly.
Just cracks me up how people name things.
It's just a green guy. It's just a little green guy.
Apparently very venomous, though.
Oh, yeah. No, they absolutely are venomous, and they are dangerous to humans if not treated.
But they're cute.
But not for the reason the book says.
Oh, they got it wrong?
Yes. And maybe it has to do with the fact that they were like, oh, we have no idea how they affect humans. But yeah, it's a cute little baby. We grow up in the part of the US where rounded heads and rounded eyes mean non-venomous, and more triangular heads mean venomous. And that is not the case everywhere in the world. I do want to point that out. PSA, please read up on the poisonous snakes you were about to travel and visit. But it's a cool little green guy. It's just a dude.
Oh, he's so cute.
He looks like a common garden snake, but he is black in his scales.
And he will kill you.
And he will kill you if you don't get treatment. So in the book claims that it's an instantaneous death because it causes the heart to stop working. And then also in the book they do mention, oh, but we don't really know how boomslang poison affects humans. You know, we're studying it. But the way that it actually, 100 years later with hindsight, I guess, but the way it actually works is when you are poisoned, it is a hemorrhage. Oh, what is the special word for it?
Coagulation?
It was a fancy word. No, I refuse to not have the fancy word.
Must have the fancy word.
Oh, apparently boom slang means tree snake in Dutch and Afrikaans.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's just tree snake.
Tree snake of death.
Oh, they have rear-facing fangs, too.
Ooh, ow. So they really get in you.
This requires the snake to bite, hold, and chew the venom into its victim. Hemotoxin. There it is. It's a hemotoxin, which means it affects the body's ability to form blood clots.
Ow. So you bleed out.
So, yes, so it can cause internal and external bleeding, and that's what can kill you. And so if you get bitten and apparently chewed by these things, it can lead to cardiac arrest, but it's not instantaneous. It takes a little bit. And apparently it's slow acting, and the symptoms may not become apparent until many hours after a bite.
Interesting.
Which apparently, being that slow acting, there is time for an anti-venom. So if you get bitten by literally anything, go see a doctor.
Yeah.
You should not be bitten. But yeah, it's slow acting, it affects bleeding, and it doesn't work like that. So real life, no. But for interesting, come on, boomslang sounds like a made-up snake name. It's like, this is what I would name my snake, my sub-Saharan snake.
Yes.
But yeah, I looked it up and I was like, oh, these are real and kind of adorable. But yes, does not quite work like that. But for the story, for our purposes, there is a snake venom so venomous that it can kill a full-grown human instantaneously. Which, when I phrase it like that, that does sound kind of ridiculous.
It does. I'm sure there's something out there that can almost do instantaneously, but...
I mean, there are things that are so venomous that it absolutely...
You will be dead expeditiously.
Very soon. But snakes are usually way smaller than us. So it would have to be really, really poisonous. Let's look. Is there a snake that can kill you instantly? Hello, my FBI agent. Black mamba.
Oh, yeah.
Which is also found in sub-Saharan Africa, is known for its speed and highly toxic venom. Untreated, the bite has a high fatality rate, but that makes it sound like you have time for treatment.
Everyone dogs on Australia for having dangerous animals.
Oh no, African snakes scare the crap out of me.
Maybe it's actually sub-Saharan Africa that has the animals that will kill you, at least the reptiles.
Literally anything with a dense forest terrifies me with snakes.
That's fair.
They're capable of striking up to 12 times in a single attack. Holy crap. Untreated, its bite has a fatality rate of 100%.
Oh.
Making it a killer among killers of the continent.
Oh, goodness gracious. No, thank you.
Oh, and now it's just talking about how it kills a lot of people because they don't have access to the anti-venom, and they use traditional healings, but they always fail.
That's kind of a bummer.
I want to know how fast it can kill you. I don't know how fast it takes, but even then, even with 100%, you still have time for an anti-venom to be administered, so even then...
Yeah.
I don't think there is a snake that can kill you instantaneously.
That's probably a good thing.
The inland taipan is the Australian snake that is incredibly venomous. Studies suggest that it has enough venom to kill 100 adults in a single bite. While it's shy and avoids confrontation, its venom is extremely dangerous. Dang. We're back to being scared of Australia. That's what we get for talking.
That's fair. Yeah, that's what we get.
but it's shy, so it wouldn't want to bite you. Yeah, once again, you can live through it if you get immediate and proper medical care. And so yeah, once again, not instantaneous. 30 to 45 minutes, potentially even faster.
That's pretty fast.
But even that's not instantaneous. Anyway, so
it's true.
The point of this rabbit hole is no. But then you also have to consider artificial because you take the venom out of them and you could probably have like a higher concentration. Anyway. Not the boom slang, though. Tree snake did nothing.
He's innocent, Your Honor.
He's innocent boy in this case will kill you. Please don't touch. They really do look like little garden snakes with black and green, so... Snakes, man. Anyway, my thoughts aside. Yeah, so everyone's detained. And of course, who shows up to investigate but our old friend Jap?
I like Jap.
I love Jap, but my dude.
Everywhere.
Because he's been ridiculously involved in cases before. And we've been like, this is not your jurisdiction at all. But even Poirot was like, why are you here? And he's like, oh, because I'm in charge of smuggling for Scotland Yard, even though I always do murder cases. So they automatically sent me because this could be a smuggling-related death.
He's so funny.
Any excuse to get Jap here, honestly.
Truly.
He's the only police officer in England.
Yeah, they just send him on everything. He's actually the captain.
Yeah. Oh, there's another reference that I clocked that I didn't see anyone else do. There's a moment where they're talking about professions, because these two dudes in the back that are French are archaeologists, but they look scruffy, and Jap is like, ooh, they look suspicious. And Poirot's like, no, they're very important archaeologists. And Jap is like, wow, that's so crazy that you can look so different from your actual occupation. And Poirot's like, yeah, one time someone thought I was a hairdresser. And that's a reference to Roger Ackroyd, the narrator's sister, when she first sees that he moved in. It's like, oh, with that hair, he's probably a hairdresser.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even notice that one.
I've read Roger Ackroyd enough. I got you. I saw you, Agatha. Anyway, they interview all the people. No one saw nothing. No one knew anything. You know, get a list of items that was in their possession. And Poirot's like, haha, there is a right clue on the wrong person. And I was like, you know, it's pretty interesting that James has a letter asking to procure a loan and the victim is a loan money lender.
Yeah.
I don't know what Poirot's talking about.
Right.
But that caught my interest. Also, he keeps referencing, it's like, the wasp, it is our big clue here.
And it wasn't.
I mean, it kind of was. Because my thing how would a wasp get on a plane? And no one noticed it until the very end.
That's true, yeah.
I thought that was a little weird. But no, he was going into another one. It's like, oh, it's supposed to look like a wasp. And so the wasp is part of it. I was like, yeah, they released a wasp to make it look like a wasp sting. Because you guys almost thought it was a wasp sting until Hercule looked down and was like, oh, blow dart.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, they find the blowpipe in the cushion of seat 9, which is Hercule's chair. And this gag kind of plays off because immediately they're like, well, you didn't do it. And Hercule's like, well, you never know. You have to trust no one. And then they get to the inquest, which is basically either real quick, oh, obviously this person did it. The obvious person did it. Or they can rule that they were definitely murdered, but we don't know who it is, so they need to investigate more. And the first verdict they come back with, the judge or whoever, was like,
absolutely not.
Coroner's like, I'm not accepting this. Go back.
You guys are idiots. You're wrong.
And he was like, I'm not accepting this, go back. And then they came back with, oh, mysterious person did it. I was like, they blamed Hercule, didn't they? And then later on, Hercule's like, yeah, they absolutely put me first.
I love how the judge was just like, no.
But they end up, I'm not really sure if this pays off as much. Maybe I just didn't piece it together. He finds a piece of the sticker on the blow dart, and it's like, oh, clear that this comes from a curio shop. And then later on, he goes to a curio shop, and he's like, hey, did you sell this recently? He's like, yeah, I sold it to an American, but it had red silk on it. Okay, so the person switched it out, probably. I don't know. Okay. Yes, the obvious thing is obvious. We did the thing, yes. The interesting thing we get from that, though, is an American bought it, which is weird because there were 2 French people and the rest of 2 French people, a Belgium, and a bunch of English people. So where in the world would an American come into this?
Clearly no one's just really good at acting and faking accents.
I know. I was immediately like, either they're faking or we have multiple people.
Yeah.
Clancy is an author. I think that's his last name. And then for the rest of this, Daniel Clancy. I wrote his last name once, and then for the rest of this time, I will call him Daniel. There. He mentions owning a blowpipe, and then the police are like, oh, so you own a blowpipe.
Why would you do that, my guy?
Because you just blurt things out. He was trying to be helpful, I think.
That's true. Yeah.
And he's talking about his book. He's like, yeah, I bought a blowpipe so I could make this part in my book much more realistic or whatever. He even brings it to the inquest and is like, here's my blowpipe. It's not the other one. And I just never bought. Ever since they found it smushed in Poirot's chair, I was like, so it's not a blowpipe.
How would they get it there without anyone seeing them?
Yeah, my only thought was it would have to have been when Poirot and Dr. Bryant were looking at the body, because Dr. Bryant was sitting next to Poirot. Poirot had a window seat.
Yeah.
And so they would have to go into the seat and shove it down. And I was just like, it's too easy.
Yeah. Another thing about the blowpipe, I don't know if you're going to mention this later, couldn't they have just shoved it out the window? There's holes in the window that would have fit the blowpipe perfectly. And I'm like, there are holes in your window?
Oh, yeah.
Of an airplane?
Yes, they had ventilation things. I think they were supposed to only be open. No, because he mentions that during the plane, they did not fly as high as our current ones do.
Yeah, and I realized that, but I was like, oh my goodness.
But yeah, no, that is crazy to hear.
You just have a blowpipe-sized hole in your window?
For air circulation.
How cold was it?
Oh, it's probably freezing up there.
Oh my gosh.
But a hole in the wall aside.
Nowadays there's a hole in our plane and that's like, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
We're dying.
Yeah, this is how we all die.
I didn't buy that was a blowpipe. And then they spent so long, there's like, it was impossible for no one to see it. And so either it was a blowpipe disguised as something else, which at some point I started thinking about the flute. And then the detective was like, here are the possible things that it could be. And then he doesn't mention the flute. And I was like, so it's the flute that Dr. Bryant had. It's not.
Lots of red herrings.
But that was my thought, because I was like, everyone saw him with the flute. But there would still be that moment where something left the flute and no one saw that. Because that solves the issue of no one seeing the blowpipe, but it doesn't solve the issue that no one saw something come out of it and hit her.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had no idea what was going on here. But inklings, you know.
Yeah.
I did think at one point it was the senior attendant.
Uh-huh.
And that he did it when he was giving her coffee.
Yeah, because that would have been a really good time to do it.
Yeah, because, you know, no one sees the help, and it would be a psychological event. He had just handed out food or drink to everyone, and so they're going to focus on their plate. And then the Frenchmen are stuck in this conversation over here, and so no one would have seen him do it. That does not end up being the case, but that was my thoughts. Alrighty. So they find out that this woman, Giselle, whose real name is Mary, is a moneylender, but does it through blackmail. And so she finds out information about you, and she's like, if you don't pay me back, then I'm going to blackmail you. And she had an estranged daughter that apparently, you come to find out, they all lived in Quebec, and then Mary ran to France with another man and just left her child at an orphanage in Quebec.
Yeah. Great parenting decisions.
Hercule harps a lot on the fact that everything in her life lacks natural touches. Like, she doesn't have any curios or knickknacks in her office or personal effects. There's no family photos in her bedroom or anything really personal. And I thought that was going to play off more. But the more I read about it, I was just like, so you help rich people gamble and then blackmail them.
Yeah.
What are we providing to society here? Really?
Nothing.
Nothing. But anyway, her daughter is going to inherit everything. And they say the fortune is 8 or 9 million francs.
Which is a lot of money.
Which is a lot of money even today, but let's figure this out. According to the University of Melbourne, who has an archival currency converter, March 1935 has a franc to US dollar conversion rate of 0.0662.
Oh, dang.
So if we're going to take 8 million francs, we'll do the lower number.
Yeah.
We're going to take 8 million francs times that. So we're looking at 592,619.35 US dollars. And if you convert that into 2025 money, we're looking at a minimum of $12.5 million.
I'd kill for that.
That's a lot of money.
That's going on my FBI record for sure.
So yeah, a lot of money. And so I was like, well, maybe the steward's working for the daughter, because I don't think the steward had any reason to do it himself. He just wouldn't be in that world. I don't imagine him buying money from her. He's just not rich enough, not blackmailable enough. But I could see him being paid by someone to do it or tricked into doing it somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, blackmail. The police would go to her house to try to figure anything out, but there's this maid who burned everything per instruction. And the only thing left is this black book, which Poirot manages to get. And there's 5 entries in it that could possibly relate to the passengers, which, by the way, there's also a joke that Jap goes on a rant about how much he hates detective novelists.
Yeah.
Kind of love that.
That was a good one.
So self-aware. I thought about it. And so, like I said, there's 5 entries. It has a number, which probably references to a file, a little tidbit about them, and then like a second statement that's probably the blackmail. But it's really vague. Like there's one that's like English peerless, period, husband, period.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's Cicely. Which by the way, a peerless, we can definitely check this book off for adding new words to my vocabulary. But a peerless is unrivaled, unequaled. So apparently it's an upper crust kind of term.
Oh. Huh.
So it's like, oh yeah, you're rich because you're peerless. And then I was like, okay, so she's cheating on her husband. She has a husband, she's cheating on him. She is.
And has a gambling problem, we come to find out.
And has a gambling problem. It's a whole thing.
What an absolute ray of sunshine.
There's literally a section where we go around and learn all the tea about the different passengers.
Loved it. Best part of the book.
And for her, she's married this dude. Agatha Christie loves using this trope. Oh my gosh, my best friend from forever. I'm totally in love with him. But oh no, there's this random woman or man, that's also happened with men. There's this other person that has completely swiped me off my feet and I immediately got married to him. And then the fun wore off and now I hate it.
Yeah.
Very common trope, which, let's talk about, I'm shocked. There is a colonel mentioned. It's not a character, but there is a colonel mentioned, so that can still be part of the drinking game. But there is no old dude in love with a young woman.
Thank goodness.
That's her favorite. That's her favorite. So I got Cicely, and then there was one doctor on Harley Street. I think that's all it says is doctor on Harley Street. So you're like, okay, that's Bryant.
Yeah, that one's pretty obvious.
There's a Forged Antiques, which could be the DuPonts, who is a father and son duo for being a archaeologist. And I thought, well, maybe it's the son. The dad's super up there, super important, made all these big discoveries, and the son's trying to live up to that. And then there's a note about someone who's embezzling, which I was like, okay, that's probably James, who is a manager at a cement company.
Yeah.
And then the 5th one is attempted murder. And that was the one where I was like, that could be several people.
Yeah, that could be anybody.
Very, very fascinating. Apparently, she was going to go on this 8:45 trip, but they were like, oh no, it's all full up. You have to go at the 12 o'clock. And Poirot gets it out of the front desk agent that he was bribed to doing that. So 500 franc, we do the math like I spelled out earlier, and we get about $8,000.
Someone really wanted her on that plane. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, really wanted to make sure the desk agent was like, oh, this is harmless. I'll just get $8,000. Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
But apparently an American wanted to have a meeting with her, but didn't want to create the meeting and wanted to seem spontaneous. And so she's just going to, yeah, I'm totally going to be on the plane and talk to her. Like, oh my gosh, you showed up. So cool.
We're just seated next to each other. How strange.
Yeah, because he brought the number 1 seat, which Poirot points out no one sat in.
Yeah. I pretty quickly was like, I think this American is not a real person.
Yeah. Well, even Poirot's like, this is sus.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how he stated it, but it was basically like, someone's playing a part here. I do remember a portion of it. He says, in Paris, it's really easy to fake being American.
Probably true.
You have a little bit of an accent, and you're a little bit nasal, and you seem American. Just play the tropes. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the part. Cicely's husband confronts her for being terrible and the worst, and that he hates her, and totally would if she just randomly died because he's in love with Venetia.
Yep.
Who, like I said, was the best friend he loved all his life, except this random woman came along and they got married, and now he's awfully depressed.
This is why we don't rush into things, my guy.
Well, every time they get back together, I'm like, yay. When are you going to do this again to her? But let's pretend he learned from his lesson.
I hope so.
Jane gets a raise because everyone wants to talk to her.
I mean, I wish I could get raises for that.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Everyone wants to come in and hear the story.
Yeah.
It's voyeurism, and there's a newspaper, people wanting to talk to them, wanting interviews, want them to write stories, will pay a lot of good money. So here's where I got a little bit split. I remembered Blue Train, where there was a female assistant and two dudes vying for her, and one of them was the murderer. Because guess what? Now we have a female assistant who has two guys interested in her, and I was like, okay, so this is pretty suspicious. Norman, who's a dentist, who they flirted a little bit at the gambling ring, as you do. Gambling ring. The casino.
Same thing.
Goes on a date with him, and it's great. Like, they have everything in common. It's awesome. They have so many things in common. Even the book is like, it's so crazy that two people could have so much in common. And I was like, that's sus.
Yeah, looking back, I was like, that feels like a clue.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then she runs into John, who is the French archaeologist's son.
Very French.
But he can do accents well.
Yeah.
I don't remember who he imitates, but he imitates somebody, and he does it really well. And I was like,
So it sort of makes you think, like, oh, it could be either of them.
I bet you could do an American accent if you wanted to. I bet you could.
Enter Poirot playing matchmaker.
Little bit.
I think that is my favorite thing she does in these books.
Poirot is a hopeless romantic.
Is that every few books will get him playing matchmaker, and he goes, just trust Papa Poirot. I love it.
He is such a busybody.
It makes me so happy when he calls himself Papa Poirot.
He does say that in this book, yes.
I mean, it is alluded to that he's really old, but I love how he just is like, yeah.
Yeah, what did we calculate? He was in his 60s in the first book? I don't even remember. We calculated it out, though.
I don't even remember. He's old. He should not still be working.
It's what he does.
Yep.
It's who he is as a person. But yeah, does start playing matchmaker a little bit. And he is clearly favoring Jean.
Yeah, which was interesting.
Yeah, and so I was like, all right, Poirot doesn't seem like the type to make her do that and then he think he's the murderer.
Yeah, he wouldn't set her up to be hurt.
So that made me suspicious of Norman.
He only does that with Hastings. He only puts Hastings in danger. Everyone else is safe.
He deserves it.
It's true.
Daniel keeps popping up. He's not that important. He's a red herring, but not a... I don't know. Maybe it works for other people, but he's not very good for me because Poirot is always like, it's not Daniel.
Yeah, he's just weird. That's his only crime.
He's a detective novelist. You know how those are.
They're just unhinged, clearly.
So Poirot gets Jane to help him out a couple times, but also gets Norman to help out. He's like, hey, you need to blackmail Cicely. I'm going to write you a note. You write it in your old hand. We're going to get you dressed up, and then we're going to get you to go. So he shows up with Poirot, which is a little bit funny because there's a chapter where Cicely gets the note, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is so serious. She's getting blackmailed. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Oh no. And then the very next chapter, it starts with Poirot going, you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Take off the beard. Take off the makeup.
I was also really hoping, I knew it wouldn't be likely, I was really hoping that Cicely would be the murderer because I would just dislike her so much.
Yes. The only good ending with that is Poirot convinces her to finally divorce her husband because he'd been wanting to divorce, but she was refusing because money.
Yeah.
And Poirot convinces her. It's like, no, you'll divorce him and he'll marry for love and then you'll marry a millionaire. And he goes out of his way to be like, she's my least favorite type of person. But I do love that he did that. He's such a hopeless romantic. It's like, where their love is, there should be marriage. The marriage. So Norman goes, acts really well. There is a portion where Poirot's kind of insulting to him. He's like, maybe I shouldn't have done this, or whatever. He makes a mark that Norman's not good. He's like, well, I acted in a couple of plays when I was younger.
Yeah.
Really? You don't say. Very good actor in plays. Ever played American?
Yeah, did you ever play an American?
Anyway, what ends up happening, which I think Hercule is just genius all the time. He'll fake seances, he'll fake a ghost, he'll fake literally anything. And so this time around, he fakes a blackmail because has Norman blackmail her as someone else. And Hercule shows up, he's like, I know you're being blackmailed and I can solve all of this for you, but you have to tell me literally everything. And Cicely does immediately.
She caves.
Everything he could ask for. No hold bars. She did borrow money. She was being blackmailed. She couldn't pay it back. She made a scene with Mary the day before the plane trip, but she swears she didn't do it. Yeah, she was just too obvious.
Yeah, how unfortunate.
They're running around. Jap actually does a really good job here. He gets a chapter where he gets information out of Bryant that Bryant is friends with people that have boom-slaying venom in a laboratory setup. I think he did really well because Jap was like, oh my goodness, I need your professional opinion. Oh, our expert could never. Please tell me other things. In fact, I got this list here. Do you know anybody on this list? And he tells who he knows. And so I was actually very impressed with Jap there. Claps.
He shows that he's good at his job.
Yeah.
Good job, Jap. 2 stars. 2 gold stars for you.
There's also a point where it's mentioned that she had 2 spoons on her coffee saucer.
Which is odd.
Which is odd. I have to add this here because this is a part of the book where Jap's like, you gotta help me out here. And Poirot's like, the big clues are the wasp, the items on the passengers, and the second spoon. Which I thought meant that the poison was in the coffee.
Yeah. Was the coffee poisoned?
Like, stir it a little bit and then make it look like a wasp bite and then make it look like a blowgun. And then it's an external thing when really the poison was on the inside all along.
Yeah, that thought crossed my mind.
Does a bunch of more investigating. There is a point where Jane finally shows up to claim her inheritance, says that the woman that owned the orphanage saw it in the paper, wired it to her, because she didn't even know who her mom was.
Yeah.
She didn't even remember what her maiden name was because her name went back to... The daughter had the father's last name, but the mother changed it back to her maiden name. And so Jane, the daughter, didn't even know her maiden name.
Was the daughter named Jane or was that different?
No, sorry, Anne.
Okay.
No, I just looked at the sentence and didn't read it. Poirot was hoping Jane was the daughter because Jane's mentioned growing up in an orphanage.
Yeah, that would have been so cool. Alas.
But it's this woman named Anne. That's on me. Sorry for confusing everybody. But the description of Anne immediately caught my eye because we get mentioned of the maid,
Madeline,
as a very dark girl. And then we get Anne, and she's dark, chic-looking, little over medium height, pointed chin, matte complexion.
Yeah, I pretty quickly was like, was she the maid?
I immediately thought she was the maid.
And listen, I felt very proud of myself for even having that thought.
Oh, yeah, because they figured it out. Because Poirot's like, why do I feel like I know you? And I'm like, because she's the maid. And then very, very soon after, he's like, oh, crap, she's the maid.
She's in danger. As soon as Poirot goes, oh my god, they're in danger, I'm like, they're dead.
It's a 50-50 for me. Because either he gets there in time or he doesn't.
I feel like all the ones in my memory is like, he doesn't get there in time.
In the last book, he was able to save somebody.
That's right.
I would have to actually sit down and think about it. But there are times when he does manage to save them. But yeah, when the other detective was like, nah, we just need to calm down and think this through. And Poirot's like, no, this is a time for action.
There's no time to be calm.
You're like, oh dear.
Yeah.
Death is on the table.
Yep.
Gets to her hotel. She checked out. She's gone to the boat. They get to the boat.
And she's dead.
And she's dead. And I immediately was like, who inherits after her? Or is this related to her being a maid on the plane and she saw someone or something she shouldn't have?
Yeah.
So it was one of the two. Both?
Could be both.
It is both. Both the person that inherits after her gets a lot of money, and also she saw someone on the plane that she shouldn't have. Because he was apparently going to kill her much later, but because she saw someone she shouldn't have, aka the murderer.
Killed her now.
Went ahead and killed her now, and they did not make it in time. But she was having lunch with an American. American's popping up a lot, isn't he?
Can't get rid of us. We're everywhere.
So the book ends last chapter. Poirot invites Jap, Daniel, and Norman to dinner.
And Jane, right?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, for some reason my brain put Jane there too, even as I was reading.
No, just Jap, just the men.
Huh.
Anytime Poirot invites Jap to dinner, there's going to be an arrest. And so I was like, so it's either Norman or Daniel, and I'm pretty sure it's not Daniel, so...
He's just too weird.
I never confirmed in my brain. I was like, this is definitely the person. I just saw moments where I'm like, okay, these are red flags.
Yeah.
But with an Agatha Christie book, you want to keep your mind open.
Better than me. Once it was confirmed that it wasn't Anne who had killed her, because I was like, oh, the maid killed her. I was like, I don't know who did it.
Yeah, I had some suspicions of some weird things that he had done, and just Agatha's past writing taken into account. But so the blowpipe wasn't there to make it look external like I thought it was. It was there to suggest distance, when really it was just done by hand.
Which is a really smart misdirection.
It's a good misdirect. Yeah, it's very, very inventive. It's very juicy. So everyone would really be about it and talk about it and really focus on it, which is a little interesting. I forgot to mention Norman is a dentist, owns his own practice, and everyone is canceling, basically being like, I don't want a possible murderer as my dentist.
Yeah.
And so Poirot's like, oh, so he's doing badly because of this. But come to find out, he kind of was doing it on purpose to have a reason to move to Canada, which Poirot does kind of call him out on. He's like, so one thing happens and you're just running off to Canada? No more tries, no nothing? You're just like throwing the towel?
Yeah, you just give up. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, he thought that was weird, and come to find out it's because it's exactly what he wanted to have happened. But he had apparently had a small box that a wasp could fit in, and that was the clue in the passenger stuff.
Didn't pick up on that at all.
No, did not have that line of thought, because I wasn't 100% convinced it was, well, I did think it was planted. I don't know. I just didn't really consider the transportation of a wasp, I guess.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, a wasp is a weird coincidence. Maybe it just came onto the plane.
No clue. Well, now we have a clue, obviously, because Poirot explained. But yeah, apparently Poirot was like, your over-the-top thing was forced, made it to look like you're not good at it, but you are. So turns out, we learned earlier that this dude became a dentist because his uncle owned a practice and he took over for the uncle because things didn't work out on this farm in South Africa.
Which is how he knew where's the boom slang from.
Yeah, it was a snake farm.
Yeah.
Which makes sense in my brain. But also, I had to sit there and be like, huh.
I know this is not how snake farms work, but I was just imagining little snakes popping out of the ground like asparagus.
No, it's to get their venom and to make anti-venoms. And
I know. But have you seen how asparagus grows out of the ground?
Yes.
That's what I was like, oh, a snake farm. Yep.
All the snakes. But he was a nephew through his mom and not his dad, and he took his uncle's name. So Norman Gale isn't even his name. His name is... Here's the thing. I was laughing to myself that there was a James R. as a suspect. And so I was laughing to him. I was like, hey, my husband did it. And then you come to find out the murderer's name is not Norman Gale. It's James Richard. He is the murderer.
That gave me a good laugh when I was like, oh, it's James. He did it.
He did it. Can't get away from it. But also, his reasons for doing this is he married Anne for the money, got the money, he's super happy, yay. But he fell in love with Jane and was like, I want to marry her, so I'm not going to wait as long. Agatha, tell me you hate married men a little bit. I think there's some saltiness with her ex-husband, because what is it about married men in Agatha's books killing their wives to marry a second woman?
Yeah, this is the second book it's happened in.
In a row.
She was just processing the divorce a little bit.
She was just really putting herself into the book, but I was just like, that's hilarious. It is back to back, and I think it's happened before. I can't remember off the top of my head, but come on.
Yeah, we're really processing something, aren't we?
She kind of does the same thing in Death on the Nile, but a little bit different, but it's another case of, oh my gosh, I've been in love with this woman for my whole life, except, oh no, there's this new woman, and I have to marry her, obviously. I'm just saying, I'm feeling it a little bit.
She had a lot to unpack.
I never would have gotten this clue because apparently dentist jackets during this time period and in this place looked a lot like steward jackets.
Which, I mean, I guess if they look like the dentist jackets today, the white, maybe that's what the stewards wear?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
But apparently it looks like the jacket. So he went into the bathroom, put on a disguise, came out, went to the woman, did the thing looking like a steward, and then went back into the bathroom, took off his disguise.
Yeah, which is why she had 2 spoons.
Which is why she had 2 spoons, because he had a spoon, he looks like he was giving it to her, and then killed her. Goes back into the bathroom, takes off this disguise, goes and sits by Jane. How long did that take?
Right?
Really think about that.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is, oh my gosh, we didn't see anything suspicious. We didn't notice that a steward came out of the bathroom that a dude just walked into, and then the steward walks back into a bathroom, and then the dude comes back out.
No one was paying attention, I guess. And it's one of those where no one notices the stewards anyway, so...
How long was Jane powdering her nose? Because this dude sounds like he has bowel issues. He's in there, changes clothing, puts padding on his face to give his face a different structure. I need a turnaround time here because I still think someone should have seen something, but it's okay. It's murder. It's fine because they got caught, not because there was murder.
Murder's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. And then Norman's pretending this is fabricated. All of this is lies. And then Poirot makes him slip up because he mentions Anne had a bottle in her hand to make it look like a suicide, even though it was a murder. And Poirot says, we found, oh, you were so careless. We found this and we found that and we found this too. And your fingerprints were on the bottle. And he goes, no, I was wearing. And Poirot's like, you were wearing gloves, weren't you? And he gets caught.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was the attempted murderer because he got involved with another girl in Canada and died mysteriously through suicide.
He has commitment issues.
Yeah. So this one doesn't feel so much like the least suspicious character, because that's how the last book felt, where she mentioned her writing style is to write the book, and then the person who did it is always the person that seems the least likely to have done it. Because for me, the least likely to have done it, I had a couple people above the list before Norman.
Yeah.
But it's still a good one.
It's a good one.
Very well written, very interesting. And the epilogue, Poirot helped 2 marriages.
Yeah, because he originally said, that, oh, I'll give you 500 pounds if you let her come on this expedition. And
yes, for the archaeologist. It's like, hey, I'm going to give you a $500 donation.
If you let Jane go on this expedition with you, you know, she just really loves ancient civilization.
Which was hilarious because Jane knew nothing about it. And he was like, you should really read up on it because I told them you were very interested in it. And then the morning of, she was like, what do I talk to him about? And Poirot's like,
just don't talk.
Not about ancient pottery, that's for sure. You do not know enough yet. Turns out she can draw really well, though, so she's going to take notes, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, that just cracked me up. That he was like, yeah, she knows a lot about pottery. Narrator's voice, she did not know a lot about pottery.
Yeah, that's where you turn around in the movie, and Jane's going, you told them what?
I don't know anything about that.
And he hands her a book. He's like, here you go.
Now you do.
Now you do. Welcome to being my assistant. Being his assistant would be so much fun.
I also think it'd be really stressful.
In a fun way.
Yeah, for sure. You're gonna learn a lot.
But yeah, he's just gonna speak out of his butt and you're like, yes. It's just improv. Yes, and.
Yep.
They just had such fun dynamic.
I know. I'm sort of sad that she probably won't be back.
I loved when they teamed up. Oh yeah, no. I don't know. For something about every single time she gives him a female assistant, I really like it.
Yeah, I really like the...
Granted, Murder Roger Ackroyd was a man, and I think he was also very well done. I enjoyed him too, but for obvious reasons, he can't come back.
I really liked Jane, though.
I love Jane.
Bring back Jane.
I also liked the woman from Blue Train. Anytime we're traveling between France and England, honestly, we get some pretty good.
We do, don't we?
But yeah, general thoughts. I thought the one was really well done. I liked it a lot. I don't see why it's not more popular.
Yeah, I did really enjoy this one.
I think we both gave it 5 stars, so just to speak on that a little bit, it's really well done. The drama is there throughout the whole book. It's not an increasing, like, oh my gosh, more people are being murdered. I mean, one does, but that's not the driving force like it is in Lord Edgeworth Dies. But the way the drama's stacked and the way the narration moves around is actually very, very well done.
Yeah, it felt like a natural flow.
Yeah, and we get to see these people, because there was, which book was it? There was one book that it would move around between people a lot. Maybe it was last book even. It would move around and it'd be like, go back to the mystery. I don't care. This one didn't do it because it was, oh, let's get tea from these guys. Oh, let's get tea from these guys.
Yeah, it always seemed to be related to the story.
Always related, always pushing it forward, but always dramatic and interesting. A little hyperbolic in places, but hey, this is a detective's novel. We like it.
I wonder if she had a lot more fun writing this one, because I feel like that's what it came across as.
But I thought it was really good. I always love love closed room murders too, just in general. It's a trope I really enjoy because you don't get BS like, oh no, it's the unknown person for an unknown reason popping up here because the author couldn't decide who it should be.
How strange.
No, actually, it's the evil twin.
Yeah.
Both things I have read in one very specific book series.
Oh my gosh.
Real examples, real life examples. But that's not how the enclosed room mysteries always are. It's always like, here are the suspects. We don't need to learn about 6 more people. Here are all of them. It's one of them. Let's just like work on the thing. And so I always find them very grounded and very good. So I love...
It makes it more fun to try to figure out.
Yeah, I love locked room mysteries. I feel like we get all the information up front most of the time, unless you do it really bad. But I really enjoyed it. I think it was very well done. I think it has some of her very witty writing on her part, some very good characters.
Yeah.
No Hastings. It's always a good time then.
It's always at least, I feel like, 4 stars if there's no Hastings.
One question for the author. I'd be curious what her favorite way to travel is.
I'd say my question's in a similar vein. Yeah.
I want to say it's by train.
Yeah, I wonder. Or maybe she was a boat person.
It's just the way she writes about boats.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if she also got horribly seasick.
I have no idea. But just the way she writes about trains seems really romantic versus planes and boats.
I wonder if she had one of those back in my day onto the train sort of thing.
Oh my gosh. Back in her day, trains were luxurious.
Yeah.
And we know she did the Orient Express, which expired the Orient Express. So she definitely enjoyed traveling, and I feel like it's by trains. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she had another way she liked to travel. Maybe she was, if I can walk around on foot, I'm happy kind of person. So
she's a hobbit at heart. So similar to yours, my question was, what were her thoughts when planes first became a mode of travel?
That would have been crazy.
That's such a new concept. We're in the sky now? What were her thoughts of it? Because I can imagine that a lot of people are probably like, we should not know.
Yeah, this is unnatural.
We don't need to be. Have you guys not read Icarus?
Yeah, so the Wright brothers achieved flight in 1903. They made its historic flight on December 17, 1903 at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Other people doing flight as well. But 1903 is when flight was invented.
Yeah.
Period. Full stop. And Agatha was born in 1890. So when she was 13, flight was invented.
Yes.
That's crazy. You're very aware and conscious, and that would be really big news.
Yeah.
That would be like spaceships.
Not just, flight's been invented, but, you as a normal person can take a flight.
Yeah. And so 1935, she would have been 45 when she first wrote about someone taking a flight. So she obviously had to take one. Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy to hear about.
I wonder if she also got plane sick.
No clue. I feel like I should know that, but I don't know that off the top of my head. But yeah, that would be a crazy conversation. That's like listening to your grandparents talk about the moon race. It's nuts.
Yeah, or listening to my grandfather used to talk about the molasses spill.
Oh yeah?
And you read about that, but it's just so bizarre to have someone be like, yeah, I remember when that happened.
I had a professor who was rather elderly. I don't know his exact age, but he was talking about when he was a kid and he went to NASA. He bought food. And the attendant was like, yeah, we have this magic box that you can put this food in and radiation cooks your food. And he was like, oh my gosh, NASA is so high tech. And he was like, yeah, it was a microwave.
Oh my gosh.
And now we have it in everyone's house. It's a cheap appliance.
Now they're just everywhere.
Yeah, but when it was first invented, it was at freaking NASA. So yes, hearing her talk about flight over her life, because she died in 1976. So
yeah, so she saw a lot of how that developed
over time. Yeah, that's crazy. Rating, I would give this flying for the first time out of 10.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous going in. You never know. I mean, Agatha Christie is pretty great, so you know a little bit, but kind of nerve-wracking. Not sure what to expect, but as you experience it, you're like, this is pretty freaking cool, especially if you have a window seat.
Yeah.
This is pretty freaking cool, actually. I'd do this again.
Yeah. I gave this emotional turbulence out of 10 because
it was a lot.
I feel like I went through a lot of emotions.
It was a lot.
Reading this, but it was good. Overall, a good experience.
It was good.
A little bit shaky at times, but that's okay.
Read again. Heck yeah. I need to buy this.
Yeah.
I need to have a look out for this.
Yes. So good. Thoroughly enjoyed.
It's so good. Very much enjoyed it. But have you read this book? Who has the worst airport?
Atlanta. I'm just kidding.
No, Houston International.
I know.
Comment yours down below. But do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you like the video, hit like. And if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring Death in the Clouds with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. Ooh. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Hannah Rossell.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is a Lunar Skulk production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.